All right, hi everyone. So welcome to the OHDSI APAC community call for September 22nd. So today we are having a EU chapter sharing session as well as a Latin America sharing session for today. So just to go over through the agenda today, I'm just going to briefly give you a short update on the APAC symposium, and then we'll follow with updates from Latin America, Finland, and Ukraine. I will let you go first, Javier, and then I'll follow by Mariia, and finally with Jose going last. So a short update on the APAC symposium. So the APAC symposium page is up. We already announced this last time. However, I would like to share some changes. So one change is that we are not receiving payments, registration fees for local registrants from Taiwan. So I see Benson here, but I don't know if anybody else from Taiwan is here. But for those who are local, you can just go ahead to the registration pages here, and you can see that there has been a new category created for local registrants. So you can go ahead and register. That's the first update. The second update is that we've extended the poster submissions to September 30th. So everything was set up like kind of a little bit delayed due to logistic reasons. So if you're planning on poster submissions, the original date was September 15th, but we extended by 2 more weeks. So please go ahead, submit your submissions by September 30th. We'll review and let you know by October 21st. So there is actually one more important decision to make, which is about whether or not the event is going to happen in person or not. So this we are going to announce in October. I did some Googling from Taiwanese media. I see that the government is currently in active discussions of potentially lifting all travel restrictions beginning early October or mid-October. So hopefully we'll have some updates for you then. We will keep the updates posted on this APAC symposium page as they come. So please stay tuned. We will also make relevant announcements through email and community calls in the future. So that's all I have for OHDSI news today. I will now hand it over to Javier, who's here from Finland today, to give his to share his experience of the chapter, the Finland chapter. So yeah, Javier, would you like to share?
Yeah. So I guess you are seeing my slides. Hello, everybody.
Yes.
Yep. Yes, we can see.
Let me get the point. Yeah, so I just was going to start with a short introduction about myself because I'm going to present about Finland, but actually I'm from Spain. So you have 2 Spanish speakers on the call. And I just moved to Finland like 8 years ago to do my PhD, and then I found a job. I found a girl, and I have a kid. We have another one coming in December. So I think I'm gonna stay in Finland also for some years. And you might know Finland because of like Santa Claus that lives here, and also because of the sauna. But also something very different in Finland is that they have very unique DNA. Like Finnish population has not been mixing in the last centuries. So they have quite unique DNA that is very useful for research. And also they have very good healthcare records, very good quality healthcare records here. So I will present the work we have done in FinnOMOP. We created inside Finland this group that is made up by many people. I'm just one of the members in this big group. And this group is made up by 4 different university hospitals. We have Tampere Hospital, Turku, Helsinki, and Kuopio. There is also these 2 SMEs that they have been helping with the data conversion. We also now got the National Health Institute involved, and we also have this research project where I work, that is FinnGen. What is doing is collecting the DNA of 500 million Finnish people and is connecting that to the health records that we have put into OMOP format as well. So we have this group we formed this group 2 years ago, and in these 2 years, we have been doing this work. So as you might know, one of the most difficult things or the most tedious things in converting a data to the OMOP is to have the vocabulary ready. So we just join forces with all these 4 hospitals or those 5 groups to translate the local vocabularies into OMOP, and then we took those 17 vocabularies that we got ready, and we used them for converting 4 different databases. Most of that has been thanks to the grants of Eden. So we had the converted Tampere Hospital, Turku, Helsinki, and also this FinnGen. And here you can see the numbers that they are like, in absolute terms, they look very, very small, but in relative terms, because Finland is a small country, in relative terms, is covering 70% of the Finnish population. Then we just got those like ready, and we have started to do some kind of local or national federate analysis just for a test. And also in FinnGen, we use it every day, is use the OMOP database kind of an alternative way, because we have our users to use Atlas as a tool for creating the cohorts that then they can use for performing genetic analysis. So that's what we have been doing so far, and this is what we are planning to do right now. So now that we have all the databases ready, we can start to participate in international federated analysis. Another thing we want to do is most of the databases we have, they were done in this source to concept map format, but we want to move them into the concept and concept relationship style so that we can have more control. I can explain more about this, or you can look at the details in this reference. And then once we have those concept and concept relationship format tables, then we can perform also national federated analysis. And also one of the good things is coming is we get more databases, especially we are going to get THL will try to, or they are doing this pilot so that they will convert all the data directly into OMOP, and that will have all the data in the hospitals. They will be like 7 million people. And then we are also in FinnGen building some visualization tools and analysis tools that we hope we can share with the rest of the community soon. And I can also show you one of the simple tools that we have done that it has been helping us with the managing of and the mapping of the vocabularies. Like is this dashboard. So I can show you, let me get out. I can show you a little bit that mapping work we have been doing. We have built this repository in our internal GitLab. And we have here for all the vocabularies we have, we have in each of these folders, we can find an USAGI file where we have all those mappings. And then as well, we have in this repository for each of the hospitals, we have like a count of the codes that are in those hospitals. So like the vocabulary, the code, and the number of times it appears there. And then with that information, we have some code that is producing this dashboard that you can see here. And this is showing an overall summary of the status of those mappings. So we can see that, for example, for the ICD-10 extension, Finland extension, we have mapped almost all of the codes. And then we can see how well it covers the 4 different databases we have. For example, this one is maybe more interesting. We have this national code that is for procedures, and we can see that we have map to OMOP almost 30%, but that is enough to cover 80% of the events in most of the databases. And then because we have done this, or we are doing this into this concept and concept relationship format, what this is doing is not only including the codes from the Finland and mapping them to the standard, but it's also including the local codes inside the OMOP, so that we can also, if we want in Atlas, search or create a cohort based on the local codes. And that's why I have here these 3 colors. We can see that for these procedure codes, I can see that 80% of them, of the codes, or the 80% of the events are using codes that they are mapped to OMOP. And then I can see that 10% or 8% of the events are using codes that they are in this vocabulary, but they are not yet mapped to OMOP. And in red, I just have those codes that they are supposed to belong to this vocabulary, but they are not. So I can actually go and explore. If I click here, I can go and explore exactly what are those codes. For example, I can see that one of those codes that they supposed to be a procedure code, but that doesn't appear, is just this -1. So I can know that there is some kind of error in the database, so I don't have to worry. But maybe this one appears a lot, and I have to maybe research and ask the rest of the people, or ask the National Health Institute, why do I have this code that is supposed to be a procedure code in Finland, but we don't know what is even the name. So this is like a good overview of all the mappings, and now it can guide us to decide where we can put the effort. We can see which vocabularies are used in all the databases, which one are missing coverage, so we can go and put the effort into that to benefit the most of the people. So yes, I just finished with that final slide to thank you, and just to tell you that you want to contact us, this is the contact person at the moment, like Kimo Porka, but you can also contact me if you want in this address. Thanks. And now I can pass to you.
Can we ask questions?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if you wanted to ask questions or wait to the end. Yes, of course.
Yeah. Hi, Mui. Go ahead.
No, I think this is really cool and it's amazing. So I have a couple of questions, because I just realized that the Australian team is actually on holiday today, official holiday, so that's why they can't attend. So I'm going to ask some of the questions for them that they probably would be interested in, right? Like, the first question I have is what made you guys pick OMOP? Why did you guys choose to go OMOP compared to all the different models? That's the first question. The second question is, during the conversion, how did you guys do all this conversion by yourself? Or did you, were you part of Eden where you had help from the Eden SMEs? Right, or did you do all this yourself? And if you guys did all this yourself, how did you guys self-learn all of the OMOP rules and all of the OMOP stuff, right? Thirdly, the tool and the demo that you showed is really amazing. Are you guys going to think about putting it out there in open source so that other groups can utilize it? So those are my 3 questions.
Yeah. Yes, I will start with the last. Yes, I would like to do that, and I'm actually part of this Krion group, like this open source group. And I was talking to Adam Black that could be a good project for me to maybe try to open source this, so I can also learn how to open source a project. So I would like to do that. If I can see people is interested into this tool, I would like to do that. So
Awesome.
now that you are telling me, yes, it's motivating me to open it.
Yes.
So second, about how those conversion has been done. Yes, we can see here that for 3 of the database, they use the Eden grants for doing that.
Okay.
And they were using the help of those SMEs that we have here because in the grants from Eden, you need to have one of the SMEs from Europe. But in FinnGen, actually, it was more that I just started to work for FinnGen like 3 years ago. And my job was to take care of the medical records. And then I could see that there was this thing called OMOP, or it was converting my data into the OMOP. And then I could take advantage of all the tools that are available. So I was thinking that, okay, I think it's much easier to just transform the data and use the tools that build all the tools myself for analyzing this data. So I was thinking that it would be much easier to do that, but then I started to just myself research and learn everything. And it was not so easy, but I think still it pays off the effort, because all of the joining this community and taking the tools, like personally taking the tools, but also for helping others and to have better studies that you can produce a study and just scale that to the million of patients. Like here, I could run a study only in 500,000 people. But now that I'm connected to the OMOP, I can do the same study in like 5 or 50 million people around the world. That is like something amazing. And this mostly was done like self-learning, but I think it has been, in the last 3 years, has improved a lot, the documentation. It was quite hard 3 years ago, but nowadays is quite much easier. And then this other they started to join later, and I also was feeling happy that I was not alone in Finland doing the same thing. So it was nice to get other people joining and started to have like peers to discuss with them, and that they also will help me to do these mappings, because I'm also not a medical expert. So this something you need a medical expert to do with, and also you need somebody to really master the language. Like I know a bit of Finnish, but not enough to know all the medical terms in Finnish. So I could have done this alone. And the first question, it was, you can remind me.
Why did you choose OMOP? Yeah. Why OMOP over all the other ones, right?
Yeah, and then so for myself in this FinnGen, it was that I just found that I was actually checking other ones, but I was thinking that in the OMOP they had the most available tools, because I was choosing that for the tools. So I was seeing that there is a lot of available tools that will help me personally for analyzing the data. And for the others, I believe that is because they were finding these Eden grants, or the Eden community was talking around Europe to find people to use this database.
I do have a question too. So since many Korean visitors are interested in the FinnGen, so do you have any plan to map genetic data into kind of OMOP data and FinnGen too, or are you only populating only the other medical records in the FinnGen into OMOP CDM?
So at the moment in FinnGen, we don't have the medical records. Because the aim of FinnGen is not so much epidemiology, but it's more genetics, and they want to do, the aim is also to find rare variants that appear more often in Finland. So they are not so interested at the moment into have the common variants. They are not so interested into them. That is the one that will go to the OMOP. But still, this is a question that it appears all the time. So I think at some point we will have to also include the genetic data into OMOP. It should not be very difficult. But I think we need to have some like use case for that. To convince my bosses, I have to have some use case for that. Like maybe we find an international study that is happening that we can like convert at those genetic studies and start to do some tests. So it's not the priority, but I really would like to do it when we have time.
Thanks.
Right. So
Thank you.
yeah, if no more questions from the audience, I think maybe we'll now hand it over to Mariia to share her experience from Ukraine. Mariia, would you like to share?
Yeah, it is a pleasure for me. So I'm going to share my screen. It is not so convenient for now. Where is there? Here we go. Do you see my screen for now?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, it's kind of interesting because I'm currently in Rotterdam, and it is really intense for Javier. It is dark, and for you guys, it is kind of a day light. So interesting here. So I don't know how to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever, guys, whatever suits for you. My name is Mariia Kolesnyk, and today I'm honored to present our Jackaloop. It is our team's solution to sustainably represent post-coordination of the source concepts in OHDSI. But before I start, here is my beautiful team. We originate from prosperous Ukrainian city of Kharkiv, but due to Russian violent war, we fled from the city, and nowadays we are spread all around the world. Fully enjoying remote work, actually. And most of us stay in Ukraine, and for sure everyone works and hopes for victory, which in September actually became much more visible. Great thanks to Edward Kochmar, who is the engine of the idea of Jackaloop, and Polina Talyapova and Denise Kaduk, who are our vice leads. Okay, so now let's imagine that we are supposed to perform an ETL on dataset from maternity and fertility hospital. What we expect are some usual vocabularies, some free text, as it can be the OMOP vocabs or targets for the rabbit family of tools. Everything is quite usual. And usually we may expect that from source data, almost 70% or maybe mapped one-to-one, 10% are going to be cut off, and there still remain almost like 20% of the concepts which are quite equivocal. And this difficulty is caused by the concepts which are overly detailed for OMOP standards, right? They are real-life concepts, that's why they can be quite complex. And another thing is that they can represent either new technologies or too old or outdated technologies. So let's imagine we've got a synthetic example here, chemical theory of dysplasia of cervix uteri, which is real and still used procedure, but it is quite archaic and it is not going to be added in SNOMED in the future. And of course, it's currently not presented in OHDSI. What are our options? We may create map one-to-many. Where is it? Yeah, here we are. So we may map it to two procedures, cauterization of lesion of cervix and chemocautery, and therefore we'll have duplicate entry in procedure occurrence and still miss their dysplasia concept. Another thing we can do, we may ask to add a local standard billion concept, which is not interoperable and should be maintained manually. Another thing, we may ask to create a MOP extension concept, which actually takes time, and once again it is manually maintained. And the last option, which is also used, we may use the factor relationship table, and in this way we will combine the condition part and the procedure, so that we will have their condition occurrence entry as well. And this option is not interoperable. It also should be maintained manually, and unfortunately it can be used further in OMOP tools. Or we may represent this concept with multiple concepts as post-coordination. Thus, chemical theory of displeasure or cervixutory is a combination of morphology and methods. So SNOMED will write it something like this. This is kind of readable, but much more friendly to a computer than to a human. But still, we may see that it is a post-coordination to morphology and method. So SNOMED post-coordinated expressions benefits are first of all being SNOMED itself, and thus it is established tool and it has good documentation. Also, SNOMED is already a standard vocabulary in OHDSI and has a different and diverse attribute system, which allows semantic polymorphism and convergence of meaning. And this allows us to represent precisely a large range of data. Also, we may see that the attributes are in almost every domain, like condition, procedure, and observation and measurement. Although with all these pros, we actually can't use SNOMED post-coordinated expressions widely, just because there are no convenient tools and this language of the SNOMED is really user unfriendly. So another issues of SNOMED are that their SNOMED representation is limited. There exist multiple versions of SNOMED, and of course we must pay attention to version compatibility. Our solution here that we may use SNOMED release format 2 for source files. We may choose one version, let's say SNOMED US. Where is it on the slide? Yeah, here we are. So we may use one chosen version, let's say SNOMED US. And also for the version compatibility, we actually may rely on SNOMED logic for sustaining the compatibility of it. So with right tools, we may create awesome things. And thus, full semantic meaning of the equivocal concept like this may be stored, retrieved, and used as a post-coordinated expressions. Thus, we envisioned and prototyped one such tool, which is, I don't know if you can see my mouse here. So our tool is called Jackaloop. And for now, let me show how does it work. The first and the only manual step is actually what we already done. We find the closest existing concept in SNOMED and find the missing attribute. This is an input expression for Jackaloop. Then Jackaloop builds a concept ID for input expression using hash function. This concept may be fully used as in any concept set further on. The tool peers into SNOMED hierarchy and looks for equivalents or ancestors and finds all possible ancestors there. After that, Jackaloop builds links in the local database for the concept, concept ancestor, concept synonym, and concept relationship tables and shows these suggestions to user. If we agree, Jackaloop provides these changes to local database. Thus, the concept is mapped and may be used fully in the concept set. To keep concept sustainable and ensure compatibility and for further post-coordinated expressions, we propose to create an open post-coordinated expressions repository. What limitations do we foresee for now? Obviously, we are limited by SNOMED conventions. As proposed before, we may use only one chosen version of SNOMED, let it be SNOMED US. Our creation vector is always downwards, so that means that we only create lives, children. Another thing is that for keeping process up to date, we of course need to use up-to-date SNOMED release. Another option is that OHDSI it still doesn't allow legible attributes, and also the process of PCE creating, input expressions creating, is still manual. That means that we need to spend time for that. And of course, there still exists a problem of creating a unique concept ID, because hash function is really, really improbable to create duplicates concept ID, but still a small, really, really, really small, but possibility it exists. That's why we need a PCA repository for created PCA expressions. So our future goals are to invent a convenient instrument for post-coordinated expressions conversion via natural language processing, and to establish post-coordination culture in community. For this new year, we wish there a growth and therefore spread of our company, but we could never imagine that it will happen this surrealistic way. But this is life, and you may find us this way in these cities and using this contact information. Here, let me pay great respect to Ukrainian armed forces for protection and enable us to work and live, actually. Thank you for your attention. And now I think it's question time.
I first want to echo what you just said, right, about the Ukrainian force as well as what's going on in Ukraine. So I hope everyone in your team, as well as those that are in Ukraine, are safe, and that their families are safe at the same time, right? It's just I don't have words for what's going on, right? It just suddenly happened so quickly. So, but it's actually, you know, great to see that you guys in such times you're still able to progress on the scientific side and work on projects like this, right? It's amazing to see. So can I ask a question about how far have you guys gotten? I mean, have you guys talked to like the OHDSI vocabulary teams about what you're doing and what the issue is to bring a bigger force of people in to maybe help move your future goals along?
So actually, it's, the point is that today is almost a premiere of Jackalope. It is the first time it is seen for anyone out of our team. So happy birthday, Jackalope, I may say. And the point is that our team is going to present this tool on the OHDSI symposium in Washington, D.C. So yeah, it is like a spoiler now.
Oh, yay!
Exactly. And after that, I really hope, as I see your interest here, and I hope the people in the OHDSI community will be interested as well. So I hope it will go further on, and our expectations and actually ambitions are quite big. So as I said, we want to establish PCA culture in the mob. So that is it.
Amazing to see.
Yeah, it's a surprise that we're the first, right, Mui? Like,
yes,
generally it will be the other way around, right?
We're always the last. APAC is always the last typically to find something, to hear about something. So yes, we're very happy that and honored that we're first.
Yeah. Oh, so Mariia, so there was one of the limitations, if I read correctly, was about the licensing, right? Mui, like, could potentially the collaboration between OMAP, OHDSI, and SNOMED, that collaboration we have right now, could it potentially cover this, or like would it be something that would require a separate discussion? Like, I'm wondering your thoughts on that.
So from what I understand, the SNOMED, actually OHDSI has a SNOMED license now. So anyone who does research in the OHDSI community actually can use SNOMED. So, but I mean, we would have to talk to Christian a bit more about the extent use of it, right? But from what I understand, it's no longer an issue for anyone in OHDSI to be able to use SNOMED.
So Mariia, you guys are actually going to be in the US, right, to present this Jackalope, right?
Yeah, so in the US, you will meet actually their Edward Kochmar, which is their main engine here, and also Polina and Dennis. So basically, yeah, here we are. Hi, Edward.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, if you have any questions about the license, I guess, you know, finding a very tall person with almost no hair, with a very long nose that looks like, I forgot that guy's name from Despicable Me.
Gru. What's his name? Is it Gru? No.
Yeah, that villain who's supposed to be a villain, but he turns good. I don't know. If you have children, you might know. But yeah, it's he's gonna be there. Grab him for a separate chat.
Yeah.
It's Gru. Okay.
It is
Yeah,
true, right?
Yeah, he'll probably be happy to help with any questions you have about the license of SNOMED. So yeah, it's an honor to have this presented here first. We're definitely going to post this ASAP just to make sure that we're the first. So yeah, thanks for that, Mariia. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, that means no. Jose, would you like to take the floor now? You're muted.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, I can. And thank you for the invitation. Yes, it's amazing that two Spanish speakers are in this call. So Javier, what you're doing is amazing. And Mariia, I commend you in these very difficult times, and resonates that it's really hard, close to impossible to do science at this moment, and you're managed to pull off these amazing work. So it's amazing. It's amazing, and I wish the best, and I hope everyone is safe to resonate with MUI. So let me start presenting. Okay, now you're looking at my slides, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this presentation, it's about OHDSI Latin America, and about what we're doing, why we are together, and what are we trying to do. Let's get started. So first, let's start with definitions. What is LATAM? LATAM is the sum of countries that are between Mexico and Argentina, right from the border of United States to close to the Antarctic. We are roughly 652 million people, which, seems like a low number for throw in an Asian Pacific call, but we are a lot of people that speak Spanish mostly. But we have here Brazil, that actually is almost a quarter of us, and they speak Portuguese. We're a different colony, and we are very different people. Maybe you are familiar with a lot of very famous Latin American people. Maybe Shakira, you know her. Maybe you know Sofia Vergara, and maybe you know another famous Latin American people. But there is one thing that distinguishes Latin American people, and that is nothing. Because Latin American people, we are very different between each other. For example, I have a nephew that is blonde with green eyes. I'm very white. And that is what Latin America is about. We had a lot of mix during the colonization process. And we have a lot of people that looks like indigenous people. We had a lot of people that looks like Europeans. We had a lot of people that looks like people from Africa, because we had a lot of forced immigration from Africa. We have people that look from Middle East. So we are very, 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 very different, and we are very varied. And that makes us, and that makes even study this population a challenge, because with so much mix, you don't really know what is going to happen. I remember these conversations about race in the U.S., and I was telling people, I don't even know what is going to be the color of my kid. So it's a totally different game here. And because of that, we really wanted to produce evidence, and we really want to decide and to put the best knowledge we can, but with our population. And that's the reason that we are together in OHDSI LATAM, because we fall in love with OHDSI in the US, seeing all the great things are happening there, and we really want to come aboard and produce that for ourselves. But the first thing that you may think is that, do you actually really have enough data to do anything? And I couldn't actually get the number of hospitals from Latin America, but there is a good approximate. So from the World Bank, you can actually have the number of beds in Latin America. And if we say that the number of beds is around 200 beds per hospital, which may be for a lot of hospitals, maybe more, 400 or 500 beds. For some others, maybe a little less. We could say that we have at least 6,000 hospitals in Latin America, which are roughly the same. It's 1,000 more hospitals than in the US, with almost twice the population. So we, and is there electronic health records data here? Yes. There has been many initiatives and conversions from many different countries that they just pass laws that allow this to happen. And it's happening, we know, in Mexico. In my country, it's happening since way before 2013. Brazil, of course, is happening a long time ago, Chile and Argentina as well. Here are some of the institutions that we know for sure has electronic health records and have already engaged with us. If you see the map of collaborators in OHDSI, there is usually no one from Latin America. Or right now, there are just a few dots. And those few dots correspond first to, this is my current institution, Universidad del Norte. We have already started the conversion. Yoo-hoo! We have already started the conversion. And we have sort of a first version that is unmapped right now. And we are going to start the, as Javier told, the beautiful process of mapping our internal vocabs. We use ICD-10, but besides that, we have no other international standard whatsoever. The Albert Einstein Hospital already has an OMOP instance that they have sort of in this alpha mode, testing and making sure that everything is okay, but they have spending a lot of resources. They have almost a team of 10 people doing this, and they have a lot of enthusiastic people. I was actually last week in Brazil meeting with this team. From Hospital Clínico Universidad de Chile, there was this crazy master students that said, you know, I have a very small data that is related to ICU, and I really want to transform this to OHDSI. And the guy did it, and even presented in a call. He even stood up Atlas, he transformed all the data, and it was amazing. So it was the first seed of actual Chilean data converted from the CDI. And this guy is from the FALT, it's an institute in Chile that works, that treats people with cancer. They have reached to us, and they are really trying to put together a team that starts the conversion of their own data. So it's happening. Finally, after many years, the Latin American movement just started. But what is happening with the working group? Well, we just formed in 2019. We actually took a long pause on 2020. And because, of course, the pandemic, we are roughly maybe 30 plus members that come together to share knowledge. Here is one of the a little bit more names of the institutions that started the conversion. And one notable one is CDAX. CDAX is an institution that actually collects data from the public, let's call public insurance in Brazil, that is called SUS. And they have already run studies with 100 million people, not with data converted from to the OMOP CDM, but with their own data. So the potential is huge, and they already started the conversion. And what else is going on? Okay, so we actually proposed in our key results that we really want to preach the OHDSI gospel in Latin America. So I was invited in an event organized by Harvard and MIT that is called Make Health here in my country. And I actually did a 2-hour workshop with people to just getting to know what you can do with OHDSI and what all is about. We had an event in Brazil, actually sharing this standard last week. among the Brazilian community and some international community that was there. There is an actual OMAP course in the Society for Health Informatics in Brazil that is called SBIS, and the second version of the course just started yesterday. And there is a Spanish course upcoming that we're trying to put together at least that lasts at least 3-4 days. And if that was not enough, there is an initiative that actually crowdsourced how to map and one of the main vocabularies in Brazil that is called SIGTAP to the OMAP CDM. And they decided to do the crowdsourced way, and they were able to have 100 people enrolled in this initiative, among which 70 already got some portion of the data, and they already have a portion of the data map, which is amazing. And it's been quite a journey, and the Brazil community is quite active right now, making a lot of efforts. And as the final touch, we really want to start generating evidence. So we from the Albert Einstein, there is this initial protocol and trying to run a PLP study focus on COVID-19, but recently some of those things are changing. But they really want to create a PLP protocol that we can run in our institutions, and then we can actually share with the entire OHDSI community, receive feedback, and actually run the study. And that is what the OHDSI LATAM is all about, and what we've been doing, and we've been trying to do. We don't have hidden, but we really been trying to do with the resources that from the hospitals and universities, really try to ride this wave and make it happen. So I'm happy to take any questions, and thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, Mui has a question as usual.
As always.
Yes.
Of course, Moi. You remind me so much, Moi. I'm always with questions.
Yes, I always have questions. So I want to first say, right, it's amazing that you're able to start LATAM with such a big population and such a big, continent, multiple continents, really, right? So what were some of your, how did you get like these different people interested in OMAP, right? Because it's very similar when you talk about the fact you have many diverse type of people and it's multiple countries, right, within Latin America. So very similar in APAC, we have a lot of different countries and a lot of different groups doing adoption of OMAP. So just want to learn a bit about how you guys were able to get these different organizations enthusiastic and also wanting to join OHDSI.
There's been a lot of talking. I think, what? We have it easy compared to you, right? We just speak Spanish. And that is, okay, Spanish and Portuguese. I mean, these crazy calls when everybody's talking Portuguese and I need to get some, and I just speak Spanish and I tell people, I don't speak Portuguese. But besides that, it's been a lot of talking, from people that are from Latin America in the US. That has actually been one of the most important things, right? People that are from Latin America that are in the US, because that they already have some of the initial sales, right? And then they usually know someone in their countries, and that is where the ball gets rolling, right? And me being in Colombia has been also beneficial because I've been really trying to get invited to these events and really like pushing these boundaries. And in Latin America, and to be honest, there is an initiative that is being led by the Inter-American Bank, like the IBD, Inter-American Bank of Development, IBD, that is actually an initiative for interoperability of medical records for the entire Latin America, right? And of course, they are focusing on fire, right? But we are the other side of that, and that is the part where I'm just again riding the wave of interoperability and talking about in that way, and it's been amazing that I've been able to use also that moment to start talking with people about OHDSI.
That's amazing. Having policies and government institutions or initiative help push things like that in Eden really helps a lot, right? I'm sure Korea, you guys have that same initiative, right? All the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Industry grants really does help push things. Sorry, to be very, realistic, money talks, right? Money helps push things along. So my other question is, if other folks are interested in joining that we may know in Latin America, how do they contact you? Because I actually talked to the National Cancer Center in Brazil not too long ago, and I got them kind of interested in OMAP. So, but how do we get them to join your working groups, or how can we connect that?
Sure, there are two immediate ways. So, of course, email jposada at OHDSI. I don't
I
have
know
the
your
chat
email
available.
address.
Yes, that's one, right? J-Posada. We are meeting every fourth Wednesday of every month, or Wednesday of every month at 12 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Right, and of course we are very welcome, very happy to see new people. And for this particular contact in Brazil, I have my Portuguese speaking guys that will be happy to jump in a call. You know, that is one of the good things about the Latin American community. You can easily make introductions via WhatsApp. We don't have WeChat, it's WhatsApp. And then we just, jump in a call really quickly and say, this is my name. I'm here to help anything you need. So those 2 minutes with the help, because they love to speak Portuguese. So with the help of this Maria Teresa and the people in Brazil, we can quickly connect with them. So those are the 2 quick ways we can really start moving along.
Awesome. Okay, I won't take up any more. I'm sure other people like Chan right there.
Yeah. So yeah, in Korea, in the past years, there are several people who actually vote for fire interoperability, and that was a challenge in my country. So because there are many for fire people actually were against mob CDM. I don't know why. I've never understood why they are doing that, but still, that's what they did, and it was really challenging. But Christopher Chute, who is one of the leaders in the interoperability and fire, actually told us in this year at Europe symposium that he realized that the fire is not for data analysis, and when they are built the NRC national COVID collaborator things, they found that fire cannot you cannot analyze the data in the fire. So that's why that Christopher Chute tried to adopt OHDSI at that initiative, and then they think that we are OHDSI and fire has to be incorporated and integrated. So that's why we are doing that. And the second thing is that you are working in the Stanford, and then you've built some really nice GCP platform for the OHDSI and OHDSI at Stanford. So do you have any plan to adopt the cloud system for the LATAM worker too?
Sure. On the slides that I usually present, one of the things that I usually it's sort of in the fifth slide saying, one of the things that I said, a lot of people believe that they don't have the resources to do what it takes, right? But we in LATAM have the same resources I have in Stanford. That's what I lead with. We have the same resources. There is no restriction. It's the same cloud, the same vendors. So I think it's been that message has been making their way, because people realize there is no impediment right now, right? Like you don't have a limitation of resources, because it's not even expensive. It's not even in your local currency is that expensive, right? So it's something that it's getting there. Of course, in Latin America, the data protection policies are somewhat growing, right? In the sense that There are some countries that have some laws but no regulation. So that is, of course, changing rapidly, which for some countries may impose a restriction that you need a local cloud. But even that, there are a lot of companies that already are putting together local clouds, and it's happening already, right? That are not from these three main vendors. In my country, for example, besides Microsoft, Azure, besides Azure, AWS, and Google, there are others that are already offering cloud services that are localized in Colombia. So I think that's what I tell people. Please don't buy servers. Please use the cloud.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks.
All right, so guys, we are like 2 minutes left. Any last questions from the audience? I will take. Otherwise, I think we can wrap up the call. Okay, so Mui, you were going to say something?
No, I just want to say thank you to all the presenters for coming live, right? Normally this call has a lot more folks, but a bunch of the China folks are on vacation, and then Australia decided last week that they need that the government said they're gonna give everybody the day off today. Why today? I don't know. Because the Queen, right? So because the Queen passed away, thus they got the day off.
Right.
So we are very happy that we got you guys to come to present, live, because most of the time they're recorded, and we really, a lot of us really looked forward to this call. Unfortunately, some of the folks who really wanted to come got the day off, so they took the day off, right? But we want to say thank you very much for your time, for those at night, for those in the morning coming and talking to us on the Asia Pacific side. Thank you too.
By the way,
Thanks.
Morning was actually joining the call from his phone on an airplane, right? Yeah, he was excited for this call. I'm so excited. I have a nosebleed now, right? You can see that tissue in there. But yeah, like really, thanks for accommodating the unfriendly time zone, guys. Hopefully we can have another one of this, not very often, but like hopefully us next year as well. So yeah, thanks everybody for participating. If you're like, I will be posting the recordings. Last minute request to you guys will be, for those who didn't send me your slides, please send me over your slides so I can send it over to Craig to post on the APAC community call site. So yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
It was totally worth it.
Javier, please.
No, yeah, just to say thank you. That I think it was totally worth it to wake up early. I think it was very fun call. Thank you.
Now you can go back to bed.
Well, now the kid will wake up. Now I can hear. So.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a nice one. Bye-bye.